I just ran a 2:14 PB at the Tokyo Marathon to take me 4th on this year's British rankings. Not bad progression, seeing as I moved to Japan as a 2:38 marathoner only a year and a half ago. But there's no denying that this race was a bit of a shocker. I mean, it's never a great sign when you wake up in the medical tent, unable to properly remember finishing the race. So how exactly was my best time ever one of my worst performances? Let's dive into it. So I'm back in my favourite city in Japan, Kyoto, the GOAT. So much better than Tokyo. I love the old school traditional vibe. None of those big tall buildings, the skyscrapers. This is the real home of the marathon monks. So post Tokyo Marathon, I've been travelling around with my family. So we left Tokyo, headed to Kanazawa, and then Takayama, now Kyoto, and then Hakone to finish. So hitting up a solid loop all around Japan. Now before we get into the travels and start looking forward, let's break down the Tokyo Marathon and see what went wrong. So in the Tokyo Marathon race video, I gave my feelings during the race and then immediately after, that more raw reaction. And now some more time's passed, so I can give a bit more of a detailed breakdown. Now I stand by the comments I made after that I don't think this is a good performance at all. It's definitely a massive jump in time, and on paper, yeah, it looks great, but I'd come into the race wanting so much more, and I don't think that time reflects the kind of shape I was coming in at. And I'm just a very ambitious person, so I can't help but see that time and be a bit disappointed because I know there was so much more there. I definitely gave it on race day everything I possibly could and pretty much executed as close to my game plan as possible. I ran that even pace all through the 30k, tried to pick up, but on the day just had nothing in my legs. And I think with it being heat exhaustion, I had a lot of people asking about, was I taking enough fluids? Was I dehydrated? I actually smashed the carbs during this, maybe even taking a bit too much. So they say you can digest about 90 grams of carbs an hour. I think I got in close to 120, so I was feeling pretty heavy. Like my stomach was full at like 30k. It was even a struggle kind of getting more down. But I was taking plenty of liquids and I took quite a few electrolyte tablets as well before the race. So I felt like the actual hydration side was good. I think it was just my body overheated basically, and it was operating at too high a level, too high a pace. That in that heat just pushed my heart rate way up and meant that I was basically just operating above my threshold. So it all came crashing down in that last kind of 5k. And it's actually pretty interesting when we look a bit deeper into the data. So you know how this Tokyo Marathon build was supported by Koros, who was actually the very first sponsor on this YouTube channel. So massive shout out to them. I'm very selective, very picky when it comes to working with brands, and I'd held off for a long time. But after testing out the Chorus watch, putting it through its paces, I realized this could be the perfect partnership and definitely a brand that I could get behind. And so that was great. We've got all these stats from the whole marathon build and then the marathon itself that we can look into. So I've been increasing my training load here steadily throughout the block, increasing mileage, intensity, until about 2 weeks out when I started to taper, cutting back the volume, but still keeping a good amount of hard and sort of medium intensity in there. And I felt like I got it about right. So on race day, I didn't feel tired or anything like a lot of the races beforehand when I hadn't tapered into them and just used them as training runs. I definitely felt a little bit shot, but I felt pretty fresh on race day. And those first few kilometers, yeah, felt very easy. One of the big weaknesses I've noticed from looking at this watch data on training runs and races from before, when I started getting tired, my cadence started to drop, and I kept a perfect cadence for the first 32k, all in that sort of 185 to 188 range. But when the wheels came off in that last 10k, it was pretty clear what happened. So I just started slowing down. I remember in the moment, like I'm trying to pick up the pace, I'm trying to increase my stride length, but my body's just in shutdown mode. And at the end, in those last few k, my cadence is below 80, which I feel like slower than even on some of my easy runs. And I was even thinking that watching this footage, I just look horrendous, like I'm rocking, rolling all over the place. And that's when I was just absolutely battling. There was nothing I could do at this point. So that's definitely something I'm gonna have to address in the next marathon build. Like, how do I hold it together mechanically in that last 10k? And that's where soon, when I'm putting together the plan for my next marathon, I'll be looking back over all this data from Chorus and using that to basically inform the training going forward. And if you want to pick up any of Chorus's watches or accessories like the pod or heart rate strap, then you can click the link below and check out their full range of products. Now let's head on over to the streets of Kyoto for some chaotic post-marathon carnage. So in the Tokyo Marathon race vid, you'll remember the fam cam. Obviously my family's out here. Now we're going to give a little introduction. You can get to know my #1 fans who flew all the way out from the UK. So first up, we've got my sister, Laura. Who are you? What are you bringing to the table?
I'm Laura, and I'm bringing cheerful vibes, energy, and Can we go again? Oh. I'm Laura, I'm a presenter, I'm 22 from London. I feel like I'm on Love Island. And I don't have really any skills, but I suppose I'm just happy. Can we have it around 3? Jake asked me what I'm bringing to the table. I think the only thing I bring to the table is vibes and positive energy. No, this is so bad. I don't know what to say.
All of these clips will be included in the video. Next up, we've got my brother, Archie.
I'm scared.
Who are you and what are you bringing to the table?
I'm Archie.
Laura, it seems, had nothing to bring.
I guess I bring just, I don't know.
Okay, so we've got 0 for 2 in terms of what people are bringing to the table. Can Mum bring anything to the table?
I'm Run to Japan's mum and I can bring enthusiasm for the Japanese food, and I've been really daring and I've tried loads of things. I have. I've tried snails,
She's lying.
I've tried oysters, but I like their pastries best of all.
So what you heard there was all a complete lie. They hate the Japanese food. I can't believe it. So I obviously think Japanese food is 10 times better than British food any day. But all they've wanted to eat is bread rolls with cheese and ham. So I've been trying to get them to eat more. We'll try throughout this video to get a few little interesting Scranton Japan samples. Okay, first try of takoyaki. Give it a go. What do you think?
Chopsticks are quite small, aren't they?
Yeah, careful, it's hot.
What is it?
What do you think?
Keep going.
Describe it.
The Japanese
The
Yorkshire
Yorkshire
pudding.
pudding with gravy.
Okay, with what creature?
I'm scared. Oh, what is it?
Whale meat.
Is it?
Why would you do that?
Yes.
Why would you do that?
Oh, you thought it was tasty?
He's obviously bantering.
No, it's octopus.
Okay.
Is that any better?
Oh, there's the leg, look at the leg.
Oh!
So as you were watching the marathon, what were your thoughts? Were you nervous beforehand?
Excited, actually. Really excited initially, but worried about the weather because we know you suffer being a redhead.
What was your prediction pre-marathon? Did you get in any time
We went
predictions
to
or
a
not?
little.
Yes.
We went, was it a
We went into a shrine and put in money to
Yeah, we
pray for the time.
put one in and then we had to admit what we thought you were going to do.
I prayed for 2:10.
What was your actual prediction though?
2:14:30 when I did that little.
Really?
Yeah.
So you didn't back me at all? Why didn't
It
you
was
back
the
me at
heat.
all, Mum? Huh?
It was the heat. I knew it was going to
She's a
affect you.
fraud. So I thought Mum was the #1 fan. She's an absolute fraud. No backing whatsoever. So we're doing a little bit of exploration now on the edge of Kyoto. We've headed out from the city. I'm such a big fan of Kyoto. Doesn't feel as big city vibes, and we'll see where we end up. Oh, we've got a vlogger ahead of us. What's going on here, Mum? We got content being created. So it's been a marathon-esque effort from Archie. He's usually a 500 steps a day kind of guy. We pushed it up to what's today?
15,000.
15,000. This is huge. The DOMs tomorrow are going to be pretty serious. And talking of DOMs, the post-marathon aftermath hasn't been too pretty. So we've left Kyoto. We've now headed over to Hakone, where the legendary Hakone Ekiden finishes. So I'm going to try a little run now. We'll talk about the recovery, how I'm feeling post-marathon, what the comeback's looking like.
A few moments later.
So I got all set up for my run. I headed out and I had to pull the plug after about 200 meters. It's been a bit of a nightmare, this post-marathon recovery. It's definitely the worst I've ever pulled up after a marathon. Pushing through that pain barrier in the last kind of 10K did some serious damage to my legs. And Jesus, getting up these stairs is absolutely killing me. So I'm having this problem with my knee at the moment. Basically, the end of the marathon is killing me, kind of hobbling around. I'm used to my quads being the problem. I'm such a quad heavy runner. Like all of the force just goes through them. I've done tons of glute work, hip work, hamstrings, trying to balance it out. But even so, especially when I'm tired, I can just see my quads taking all the impact pretty much. So it means after every marathon, that's where the damage is. And I think basically because my quads are so painful, so sore, they've just been pulling on my knee. So like right on the patella there. Because the few days following Tokyo, I was basically hobbling everywhere. Every time I'd step down, it would be like a stabbing pain through my quad. Now, a week later, my quads are actually fine, but this knee pain's just got worse and worse. I even did the unthinkable and took a rest day, which I avoid at all costs. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, aren't rest days meant to be good for you? Like, they keep asking me, like, why aren't you taking time off? For me, when I'm used to running every single day, a rest day is literally the worst thing possible. Everything in my body starts hurting. So for me, it's like an injury risk. If I take a day off, I know everything's going to tighten up and it's actually going to increase my chance of injury. So I avoid it at all costs. But with the knee, it got so bad where just walking, I was like barely able. So I took yesterday off and then I did this morning a 16K run and it was kind of aching a bit, but actually after it's got kind of worse and worse throughout the day. I thought I'd try and get out for a double now, but yeah, clearly that wasn't happening. So it looks like this might actually need a bit more rest. We'll see overnight because it seemed like that one rest day had done the trick. I woke up this morning, I could barely feel it. So we'll check back in on that recovery later in the vid, but now let's answer some questions that you guys sent in.
Okay, Jake, the people want to know, what moment did you know you were cooked?
Basically,
literally 2 minutes after I started making that move. So I made the move, try to break away from the group. Almost straight away, the leg started hurting. I realised, yeah, this is going to be a long slog in.
How are your iron levels now, and did the taper end up being effective?
So I've had 2 iron IVs, like heavy duty ones. I'm getting the 3rd one hopefully this week. And then I'll get my iron retested, see where I'm at, and we'll see, yeah, where the iron situation is.
How are you planning to deal with higher temperature running in the future?
Okay, yes, I've had a lot of questions about the heat. So I didn't know it was going to be hot. That basically came out of nowhere. If I'd known it was going to be a hot marathon, then I would have prepped. I'd have done saunas, heat training. But with heat, there's only a certain extent you can combat it. I think genetics play a massive part. Like, I'm always just going to be useless. I remember even living in summer in Japan for like 3 months in 35 degrees. Still, I was absolutely horrendous, running like 20 seconds a K slower on sessions. There's a limit to how good you can get with heat training. So it's basically going to be about avoiding hot weather races at all costs, trying to get on those cool, icy conditions. So the reason Laura's not on camera is because she hasn't done her makeup this morning. So it might seem a bit strange, but basically I can be the only one in shot at the moment. So she's asking the questions off cam.
Okay, this is one for the beginner runners. People want to know, do you have any advice if you're getting into running?
It's all about consistency. That's pretty much all it is. Running's hard at the start. If I've ever had time off or been injured, everything hurts. My whole body's banged up. It's horrendous. So all it is just getting used to it over time, gradually building up, and then running will get easier and easier. The worst part is the start. That's when it's hard. As you run more, as you build up the mileage gradually over time, running gets more fun and more easy.
Okay, Jake, the mere mortals want to know, what does it feel like and how do you deal with that pain when you're running?
Okay, so I went a little bit into this in the race video, but yeah, I'll talk a bit more on it now. So that pain sort of in the last 5K was probably the worst I've ever felt in a race, maybe even just in life. So as a backstory, I've had open chest surgery twice. I've been cut open. The first time I had it, the anesthesia wasn't actually working. It actually wasn't properly going into my veins. So I was pretty much just waking up fully aware of all the pain. I'd just been cut in half effectively. The reason I say that is because this final 5K, I think was worse than that pain. Pretty much all I was thinking was, I don't know if I can ever actually go through this again. And I just thought if I can get to the end, then the pain will be over. So I'm just thinking, I'm not going to actually do permanent harm. Like, your mind's telling your body it's in pain. It's giving off the signals, but actually you can push a lot past that.
And talking of pushing through the pain, that's exactly what my family had to do when trying this local delicacy.
Okay, we've got the first taste of natto. We're struggling on the opening front. This is a Japanese delicacy. I have it every breakfast. Fermented soybeans. You're gonna insult the whole Japanese population if you don't like this. Get some of that good stuff. This is the secret to their eternal life.
Is that the fermented bit makes it
Yeah.
Eternal life.
Highest life expectancy on earth, all thanks to this bad boy. He's loving it. He's absolutely loving it.
Oh, there's no speech.
He can't get enough. Can you not taste the health benefits? We've now got the fussiest eater on earth trying natto for the first time.
Enthusiastic Japanese foodie. There's some stringy bits.
Dad loved this so much, he was ordering in to the UK this special Japanese natto.
They're actually not too bad.
See, there we go.
It's not too bad. Yeah.
It's a winner.
Really, it's not bad. Not bad at all. I could go back for more.
Great success for Team Natto.
And I'm going to need all the health benefits from that natto to try fix up my knee as quickly as possible.
So I tried getting out for a run this morning, and again, about 200 meters in, my knee just started killing me. So when I woke up, it felt all right, but something about the downhills running, it's just so bad for it. It sounds like, yeah, some kind of patella injury. My worst nightmare is sitting at home all day doing nothing. I just cannot do it. I was losing my mind. So we've gone out for a little trek up this mountain. So I think the plan's just going to be to do a bit of walking for a couple of days, like fully rest up, which is very strange. This will probably be my longest time off since moving to Japan, maybe since even starting running properly again. I can't think of the last time I'd have had 3 full days off, no running. All right, let's hit a few more random quick fire questions. Okay, how long do you plan to live in Japan? I'm in no rush to head back home. I feel like this is definitely the place to be for marathon running. I've got a lot of room for improvement. I barely even started training with the top guys. Like, I want to try and mix it with some of the Jisugyodan runners. At the moment, it's all been kind of solo training, or I've been training with other amateur guys. But I think for me to take that next step to the next level, I need to be running with people better than me to help pull me along. Also, my whole YouTube channel is based around Japan. Japan, so I can't be heading off anytime soon. Okay, then is there anything you'd have done differently for your prep in retrospect? I think looking back over the marathon block, it was a near perfect run-in. And I think in 6 weeks, I pulled off something like 5 PBs. It was like back-to-back half marathon, a 30K, an unofficial Yogi Park training marathon, and then obviously Tokyo itself. So I easily got into the best shape I've ever been. It's just tough that out of all those races, the one that didn't quite go to plan was the big one, the main one. But pretty much all the others, I'd say I performed at least as expected, if not surpassing that. So there definitely wouldn't be any big changes. The only thing was obviously coming off the back of that anemia spell, like after the last marathon, I had to play it pretty safe with the mileage. It was actually my lowest mileage block, I think, ever, like for any marathon. So ideally, I want to push it way higher. I want to push this train harder, not smarter approach as far as I can. I think there's a lot more room for improvement in terms of that high mileage. And that's where some of the top Japanese guys, especially the women, have just popped off, gone crazy. They've been averaging like 300 Ks a week. So maybe outside of Japan, it sounds mental, but here, that's clearly a path for success. So that'll be the main thing for future marathons. I want to up the mileage, but I think the actual structure in terms of like these long tempo runs I was doing, the sort of 10K track stuff, all of that seems to be helping massively. So I definitely don't want to make any huge changes.
Now, unsurprisingly, the most popular question was, where do we go from here? When's my next marathon? Which one am I going for?
No comment. I can't reveal my next race yet. So it's looking like some races in April or May time. So I'm trying to get back out there soon. Obviously, I need a little time to kind of heal up this knee. Depends how long that takes. But ideally, yeah, within the next 2 months or so, I'm going to bounce back, hit another marathon.
So that means back to business as usual. No more mucking around on holiday. I've returned to base camp in Tokyo so I can resume the marathon monk lifestyle. And we've actually just hit a huge milestone. The Run to Japan army has ticked over to 50K subs. Absolutely ridiculous. In under 6 months of posting videos, the channel has just popped off. And it's all thanks to everyone watching these videos. I really appreciate it. And now it's got to be straight on to 100K. That's the goal for the end of this year. The train harder, not smarter movement is unstoppable right now. And this is actually where I need your input. So I want to do something big for 100K, some kind of cool video idea. And I've flirted before with the idea of running an ultra marathon. With the goal being 100K subs, it would only be right to do a 100K race. And if I'm going to do that, then there's no point half-assing it. I'm thinking I'd have to just go out and attempt the 100K world record. So that's definitely got potential, but comment down below if you've got any other ideas what I should do for that 100K sub mark. And if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, then what are you playing at? Come on, sort it out right now. Now, I know this video was a bit of a mess. It was all over the place, but hopefully still enjoyable. It'll be back to a bit more normality now. So I'll catch you in the next one. But this has been Jake with Run to Japan. Remember, train harder, not smarter.